Hello, welcome to Midweek message for St Anne's Church, Chasetown, on Wednesday the 11th of January. My name's Linda Hood. I'm a long-time friend of St Anne's. Over the next few weeks, we're going to be looking at some of the people that Jesus met, as recorded in Matthew's Gospel, part of the New Testament. If you watched Midweek message last week, you'll have seen that we were looking at the Magi, the wise men, these kings who came to Jesus when he was very young, and they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense and myrrh, precious things that marked Jesus out as somebody special. Despite the fact that he was so young, Jesus had a profound effect on their lives as they learned to worship the God who sent his Son into the world. Today's account is about a man who was suffering from leprosy. We read it in Matthew chapter 8. It describes an incident that took place just after Jesus had spent time teaching his followers out in the open air on the hillside about how God wanted them to live. When Jesus had come down from the mountain, great crowds followed him. And there was a leper who came to him and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, if you choose, you can make me clean." He stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, "I do choose. Be made clean." Immediately his leprosy was cleansed. Then Jesus said to him, "See that you say nothing to anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded as a testimony to them." Now, that disease, leprosy, still exists today, but we don't hear so much about it, largely because it's easily treatable with medication. But at the time of Jesus, it was a very scary thing to catch. Leprosy is caused by an infection. It can be very contagious. It affects the nerves and skin. It can lead to numbness so that the patient can't feel pain in the affected areas, leading to accidents, injuries, burns. Hands and feet may become paralysed. Damage to the muscles and nerves in the eyes can cause blindness. Leprosy was so feared that if anyone contracted it, they were forced to live isolated from all human contact except for other people who already had the disease. It was a dreadful thing, and at that time there was no known cure. And yet this man came to Jesus with hope. He must have recognised something, that Jesus was able to do something out of the ordinary, something miraculous to transform his situation. He didn't presume that Jesus automatically would help him. He said, "If you choose, you can make me clean." I guess as a person with leprosy, he was used to being rejected, to people turning him away, refusing to help. Yet that didn't stop him asking, and his faith was rewarded as Jesus reached out and touched him and said, "I do choose to help you." How do you think that man felt as he looked down at the skin on his hands and feet and legs? He watched as it turned healthy, pink again. He must have been overwhelmed with gratitude and awe. This Jesus really did work miracles. He'd seen it with his own eyes. His immediate reaction was probably to want to shout about it to everyone around. "I've been healed. Jesus has done it." Yet Jesus knew that some people in the crowd wouldn't believe it, so he cautioned the man, "Don't tell everybody until you've followed the rules, until you've done the things that are laid down in our traditions. First, go to the priest, the one who can check it out and confirm that you really are healed. Then you'll be able to speak with authority. Your testimony will be believed. We know that there are always going to be doubters. There will always be people who say that faith is all a con, it's all in your mind, it's not real. Nowadays, we have medicine, hospitals, science, so surely we don't still need religion. You've possibly heard that many times. But Jesus wanted to show that he had the power to bring healing in all sorts of ways. You see, the man didn't only have a physical need. Because of his leprosy, he was forced to live in isolation. So he also longed for social, emotional, human contact, for acceptance, for affirmation that he was worthy of having somebody spend time with him. Perhaps the most precious response wasn't what Jesus said, but the fact that Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, even though everyone else regarded him as too unclean to be touched. At that moment, all of his needs were met. Physical, emotional, social, spiritual. The outward sign of his skin condition changing was a reflection of his inner healing. He had no doubt now that God could work in his life. He experienced that for himself, and that changed him. And I think we can all learn something from this. Our need may be outward and visible, or it may be inward. There are so many problems and worries in this world, be it ill health, isolation, fear of the future, financial struggles, concerns about family difficulties. But whatever the issues we face, God does want to meet with us. He's always willing to help when we ask, like the man with leprosy did. God delights to come alongside us, to welcome and affirm us, to touch our lives. And when we experience that, no doubt we'll want to share with others what we have seen and heard. A prayer. Our loving Father God, we thank you for all the things that you do in our lives, for every sign that you are at work. Thank you that you bring us inner and outer healing. Help us to recognise all that you do for us and to share your goodness with others. Amen. May God bless you.